But brothers, I want you to understand my word very well. Did I not bring evidence? I brought evidence that jarh wa ta'deel is not ghiba. But if it's done for the sake of this religion, if it's not done for the sake of this religion, it is backbiting. Even if what you're saying about that person is what? The truth. So for example, you come to another person and you say to him, so-and-so is an innovator. And in reality he is. He is an innovator. But I don't listen to him. And nor do you. None of us listens to him. For us to have tea over him all the time and chat about him, هذا غيبة بعينها. Because the ghiba is not going to become backbiting unless there's a maslaha in it. I'm going to bring you aqwal of the ulama. And Imam Ibn Asakir, he mentions in his kitab, Tarikh Dimishq, that Yahya ibn Ma'in, wallahi Yahya is higher than definition. Radiyallahu rahimahullah rahmatan wasi'ah. Yahya ibn Ma'in, Sahib al-Jarh wa-Ta'deel. At his time, he was the man that he used to come for Jarh wa-Ta'deel. Ahmad ibn Hanbal used to ask him, what do you say about so-and-so? And that's how they were towards each other. Yahya, if somebody came to where he was, he would be happy that Yahya shaked his hand. It'd make a lot for him. He loved it. He was happy. He would go back to his family and say, Yahya, praise me. Yahya loves me. Yahya knows me. It meant a lot. Yahya ibn Ma'in, who used to just sit down to talk about narrators because it was his job to protect this religion for us, and if it wasn't for Yahya ibn Ma'in and the power that he put in this religion and the effort that he put towards it, ikhwan, some of the narrations or hadith, we would have acted upon them and we wouldn't know if it's da'if or sahih. So may Allah preserve him. He's the one who said, إِنَّا لَنَطْعَلُ عَلَىٰ أَقْوَامٍ. We slander some people. لَعَلَّهُمْ, those people that we are slandering, maybe قَدْ حَطُّوا رِحَالَهُمْ, they took their stuffs with them فِي الْجَنَّةِ in Jannah منذ أكثر من 200 سنة, before 200 years. These people that we're slandering, they may have taken their belongings and everything that they had to what? To the hereafter. So they're the people of Jannah and we're slandering them here. Sorry, we are criticizing them here. We are criticizing them here. Meaning Yahya is showing there's a thin line between criticizing a person and being right, and criticizing somebody and being what? There's another qawl by Ibn al-Jawzi, and I want you all to listen to this. In his book, Talbisu Iblis, page 120. And the one before, it was by Khatib al-Imam Ibn Asakir in his kitab, Tarikh Dimishq, volume 35, page 365. This speech of Ibn al-Jawzi in the kitab Talbisu Iblis. Talbisu Iblis is a book Ibn al-Jawzi wrote to talk about the things that the people, shaitan does to the people. He tricks them and he shows them things to do, but in reality he makes it look like it's good, but in reality it's not good. So that book is a book should be read. He talks about, on page 120, look what he says. I want you to all listen to this. He said, وَمِن تَلْبِيسِ إِبْلِيسِ, one of the ways that Iblis tricks the people is عَلَى أَصْحَابِ الْحَدِيثِ, on the people of hadith. Iblis, he fools what? The people of what? He does tricks for the people of hadith. I want you to all listen to this. Don't say AbdulRahman said it, because I didn't. قَدْحُ بَعْضِهِمْ فِي بَعْضٍ, that some of them may criticize others. This is one of the tricks that Iblis does for them. That the people of Ashab al-Hadith, some of them may criticize some. طَالِبًا لِلتَّشَفِّي, the reason why they do it is because they want fame. It's because they want to be known. They're criticizing this person because he wants to get known. And Imam Ibn al-Jawzi is saying, this is one of the ways Iblis tricks these people. What does he do? وَيُخْرِجُونَ ذَلِكَ عَلَى مَخْرَجِ الْجَرْحِ وَالتَّعْدِيلِ, and Iblis makes it to them seem like what they're doing is what? Al-Jarh wa-Ta'deel. So when you speak to them and say, you criticize, he said Jarh wa-Ta'deel. The science of Jarh wa-Ta'deel. Allahu Akbar. Ibn al-Jawzi was before Ibn Taymiyyah. It was before all of these scholars. It was the 5th century, rahimahullah. And he said this. Well, only if he lived today to see it. الَّذِي اسْتَعْمَلَهُ قُدَمَاءِ هَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ, that person will use Jarh wa-Ta'deel, the criticization and the praising, as an evidence that the scholars of the people of hadith used it for what reason? لِلذَّبِّ عَنْ شَرْعٍ. They used it, the scholars of hadith used it for what reason? To protect this religion. But this was, the person is not using it for the protection of this religion. What is he using it for? لِلتَّشَفِّي. He wants to be known. He's putting himself out there. He wants to put this person down. Now I ask you a question. The man of hadith will criticize somebody, and another person will criticize somebody. The first man will be rewarded for his criticization, and the second one will be what? He will be punished for his criticization. Why? Because the intent is different. So we advise brothers, just because you criticize somebody for his mistake, and if you fool us and you make it look like to us jarh al-ta'dil, Allah ya'lamu kha'inat al-a'yun wa ma tukhfi as-sudur. Allah knows what's in your heart, and Allah knows what you're thinking, what you're doing. If your plan is to divide the Muslim unity by making it look like jarh al-ta'dil, Allah knows you subhanahu wa ta'ala. He goes on to say, Ibn al-Jawzi's kalam is very important. And he says, Wallahu a'lamu bil maqasid, and Allah knows people's intentions. وَدَلِيلُ مَقْصَدُ خُبْثِ هَؤُلَاءِ. And how do you know these people's intent is bad? Look what Ibn al-Jawzi says, rahimahullah. سُكُوتُمْ عَمَّا أَخَذُوا عَنْ. They will be silent of the people they take from. If their sheikh does that mistake, they will never talk about this mistake of his sheikh. He's ma'soom, infallible from mistakes. AbdulRahman, or somebody who's miskeen like that, who wants to make it through his day-to-day life, he does a slight mistake, the whole world will be brought to his attention. The whole world will be saying his name. That's how you know his intent is khabith. Look what he says, it goes on. وَمَا كَانَ قُدَمَاءِ هَكَذَا. The scholars before who done jarh al-ta'dil, they're not like these jarh al-ta'dil that you see. فَقَدْ كَانَ عَلِي ibn Madini. Listen to Ali ibn Madini. Who's Ali ibn Madini? Always remember these names. Ahmad ibn Hanbal, Yahya ibn Ma'in, Ali ibn Madini, Abu Ubaid Qasim al-Sallam, Ishaq ibn Rahuya. These are immatun nuqad, ashabu jarh al-ta'dil. And they were together, 5 of them. Good friends they were, 5 of those I mentioned. Ali ibn Madini was the Shaykh of Bukhari. And Bukhari rahimahullah said, مَسْتَأْسْخَرْتُ نَفْسِي أَمَامَ أَحَدٍ. I never became little in the sight of anyone except in the presence of Ali ibn Madini. Bukhari said that. I never thought little of myself except in the presence of who? Ali ibn Madini. Ali ibn Madini is going to say something. Look how honest they were. He was narrating. He heard a man narrate from his father. Ali ibn Madini, a man narrated from his father. Ali ibn Madini said to the man, who are you narrating from? He said, your father. And he said, Abi hadithu da'if. My father's narrations is weak. Don't take it. And another time he said, وَفِي الْحَدِيثِ الشَّيْخِ ضَعْفٌ مَا فِي. In the hadith of my father, in it is what is in it. That person, is there no wara in it? Is there no sincerity in it? All they're doing it for is لِذَبِّ الشَّرِيعَةِ. Ikhwani, Shu'bah ibn Hajjaj, the first man who brought the science of jarh al-ta'dil as a subject. But before that it existed in the Quran and the Sunnah. But the man who studied it and brought it as a subject to be studied like this today was Shu'bah ibn Hajjaj. But before him, it existed in the Quran and the Sunnah, as I mentioned before. Shu'bah had a man that lived with him who went by the name of Aban ibn Ayyash. Aban looked after Shu'bah. Aban looked after Shu'bah, meaning he used to care for him, he used to give him money. But when Shu'bah was asked about Aban, Shu'bah said, give me days, I will tell you how he is in terms of hadith. Couple of days they came back to him and they asked him, what do you say about him? He said, Aban hadithuhu la yukhad. His hadith is not taken. This is the man who gives him money. Normally as human beings, the person who looks after us, we don't want to talk about them, do we? But because for them the jarh al-ta'dil, it was siyanat al-sharia, to protect this religion, make this religion become na'am. So ikhwani, backbiting is permissible if it's going to protect the religion. If it's not, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and don't do it because you want to slander, you want to criticize somebody, you want to criticize a person's mistake, not to protect the religion, but what? To put this person down. That's not a jarh al-ta'dil. And evidence is that the scholars spoke about jarh al-ta'dil is a lot. The Salaf, Shu'bah used to say to the people, come together, let's come. And we backbite for a little bit. Come on, let's sit down and we backbite for a little bit. So it's permissible. The scholars, they dispute, is it allowed, the knowledge, jarh al-ta'dil, because you're going to criticize a person and say something about them, is it allowed to be called ghiba? Is it called backbiting, or is it not called backbiting? The strongest is that it is called backbiting, but it's a backbiting that is what? Permissible. And it's needed. Rather, sometimes it becomes compulsory for the scholar to clarify a stance of a person. Now, but originally, brothers, we shouldn't backbite people. The second point I want to come to now is